And we're back, and we have a brand new look here for this screen. Coming up shortly, Calvin's going to join me. Tara's going to join me. Major, he might join me. He's taking a few breaks here. We are going to get into the mock draft here right now. It's never too early to start mocking. Super Bowl just ended. That means the 2021 season is officially over. Now the 2022 Dynasty season is kicking off. And here we are. We're going to break this whole mock down for you, and then we're going to review it a little bit later. So let's get right into it here. We got some of the Vipers and friends. Are you ready for this one? I even wrote a little bit of a song here to get us kicking off here. Hang on one second. Let me pull up the words. Rounds 2, rounds 4, rounds 6, rounds 8. Mocking with all your mates. Red and green and brown and blue. They're the best fantasy crew. Vipers and their friends mock draft. Okay, I probably shouldn't quit my day job anytime soon. But hey, we are excited to get this kicking off. And we're going to start off with the 101. Tara Roberts is going to kick us off. You ready, Tara? Of course you are. Here we go. We got a 30-second clock here. It is a 1 QB PPR fantasy draft, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, flex position, 4 bench spots. And that's how we're going to kick it off here. 12 rounds, 30-second clock. Let's see here. We got it all kicking off. No big surprise here. Jonathan Taylor goes 101. Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey. And now we are at 104 here, waiting on Eagle Dan here to make a selection here. We got 5 seconds remaining here in this pick, and we will probably move along here and see where that goes. And it is Justin Jefferson with the auto pick there at 104. Megan's up next here at 105, followed by Calvin and Hobby, Brady Martz, and then myself kicking off here at the next position. We have the very first quarterback off the board at Joe Burrow. A little bit of that Super Bowl love. Now, Calvin, I know you're online. And Kyle Pitts, we have a tight end here so far. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a quarterback off the board early. Now, another running back. Now it comes down to me. And you know I'm not going to sit back and let the slander go. You know I love myself a little bit of wide receivers here. Normally, I'm typically a running back kind of guy. But you know what? I'm feeling kind of excited here. So I'm going to go with Devontae Adams. I want to keep it going with the wide receivers here. He's the 3rd wide receiver off the board. I value him a little bit more than Cooper Kupp right now. Looks like we've got Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Deebo Samuel off the board. And now I'm sitting here. Where do I want to go? And I'm going to go with Javonte Williams because I really like this running back here for the Denver Broncos. That leaves Bradley Martz. What do you got here going on next? Second round, like I said, Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler. Running backs are still at a premium here early on in the Dynasty offseason. Now you don't have to look at me. We've got the big board going on. Everything is back to normal. And we've got A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs going after Derrick Henry, followed down. Eagle Dan, you are back on the clock here. So what we're learning here right now is it looks like after last season, the running backs, everyone wanted to go running back early on in most drafts. And now it looks like that tide has turned to the wide receiver position here. Now, keep in mind, this is a 1 QB league. So if this was a 2 QB league, we'd be seeing a lot more quarterbacks flying off the board here. Right now, Joe Burrow is the only quarterback. Kyle Pitts, the only tight end in this Dynasty startup. PPR purposes here. Now, after Diggs, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf. I think we've got looking at 10 wide receivers so far off the board before the end of the second round. Now, we just saw Antonio Gibson go here at 211. Terra Time is up again here at 212 with a 301 right away. And we'll see how this all plays out here. Where do they want to go? Now, I have to say, I'm not really shocked by this early on right now, what we're seeing. I am a little bit shocked to see something like Derrick Henry here. I know Brad Martz, Frank Murphy, IDP has gone running back right off the get-go to try and solidify that positioning there as far as the running back goes going forward. And I'm kind of going with more of an anchor running back type thing, hoping that Javonte Williams will be that anchor running back for me moving forward. Now, again, Tara, another 2 running back start there for her, which matches Bob Gilchrist, who went Kamara Cook. Jeremy went DeAndre Swift, Austin Eckler. And now let's see if Tara goes with another wide receiver here, or another running back here, or does she choose to go with the wide receiver position? And she does go with Jalen Waddle, who you all know is one of her guys right now. First rookie off the board is Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, going to Ryan here at 3-2, followed by Nick Chubb to the Zach Attack, the Zach man himself. Now, where does Eagle Dan go? That is to be determined. He's gone wide receiver for the first 2 picks. Where does he go from here? Let's see. J.K. Dobbins, absolutely love that pick. That may be my favorite pick early on. I thought about J.K. Dobbins here instead of Javonte Williams. I have Williams a little bit higher in my dynasty rankings. Megan is kind of mixing it up here with Joe Burrow, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce to kick things off. Calvin and Hobby, he's going heavy wide receiver, heavy combination there as he's gone Kyle Pitts, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson. And looking at my board here right now, I pull this all up. I got it set for manual. I could go quarterback here, could go running back with Saquon Barkley. But none of the running backs really scream value at me right here, right now. So I'll probably look back at the wide receiver position. And I really would love to go Calvin Ridley, but there's so much up in the air when it comes to him right now. You know what? Let's go with Terry McLaurin. That seems to be the pick here right now I want to go with. T. Higgins, love him. Top 12 type wide receiver for Dynasty for me. I just had McLaurin just a little bit ahead of him right now. Calvin Ridley, Mr. Martin goes a little bit off the board. There's Calvin Ridley, but there's no doubt Calvin Ridley is a top 5 Dynasty wide receiver if he is available next season. That's to be determined here a little bit later. So we'll see how the offseason plays out for Calvin Ridley and the Atlanta Falcons. Followed by Garrett Wilson, the second wide receiver, rookie to go off the board. Saquon Barkley, Mark Andrews, double dip there for Bob Gilchrist. And now we are back to Jeremy here after going 2 young wide running back there in Swift, a veteran in Eckler. He goes back-to-back rookies with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. I guess I should try to figure out where to pull up the next thing here to how to set my lineup, because now I am up again and I will make my next pick. I could go again. Running back is a position I could definitely look at. Tight end is something to consider here. Not quite ready to make that move. You know what? Let's go Isaiah Spiller. Let's get in on the rookie fever here. Let's go Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M at 4.5. So we've seen now multiple rookies going off the board. Spiller, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, lots of young players getting taken here in the first 4 rounds. Chris Godwin is now Brad Marks' second wide receiver off the board. We have DJ Moore, Chris Godwin there. Now, Calvin Hobby, I'm going to add him to the screen because I'm probably pretty confident that you're all sick and tired of listening to me to kind of ramble on here right now. He has gone Kyle Pitts, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson. He's got 10 seconds left on the board for this next pick.
No. Oh, let's see. Go quick. All right, I'll take Devonta.
Yeah, that's a nice pick there. I see you going with a very heavy wide receiver PPR type strategy here with Pitts, Brown, Johnson, Devontae Smith, guys who are all PPR machines moving forward.
My strategy is draft like really good, talented players who I think are going to score a lot of points. And, these guys happen to fit that, right? Like Kyle Pitts. I mean, he looked, 21 years old, and he's already had a 1,000-yard season under his belt as a tight end. That one's for you, Bob Gilchrist. Appreciate you, buddy. And then, A.J. Brown, stud, Deontay Johnson. I don't know. Hey, what do you think about Pittsburgh and the move away from Big Ben?
I mean, I think it actually hurts Deontay Johnson, not because Ben Roethlisberger was a huge quarterback to begin with, but the fact that I don't think Ben Roethlisberger could throw more than 5 yards down the field. And I think that's where Deontay Johnson kind of made his hay there last season, was those short screen bubble type passes there, especially in PPR. Now, I guarantee you Bob Gilchrist was probably thinking he was going to get Kyle Pitts there at 112. And not this time, not in this one. It's not even a tight end premium, but there's no way we were letting Bob Gilchrist get Kyle Pitts in this draft.
No way. Not going to happen, Bob. Sorry about that.
I really like what Tara's got going on. She's got with that huge anchor running back, Jonathan Taylor. We know what he is. A little bit of risk there with Cam Akers, but the upside is there. Then she kind of came back with 2 of her favorite wide receivers, and Jalen Waddle and Keenan Allen. When we're talking PPR, both those are absolute studs in any kind of format. Dynasty, redraft, it doesn't matter. Following it up with D-Hop. I mean, I think we got to stop giving Tara the 101 because this is probably the most solid roster top to bottom so far.
That is absolutely, I think if you have the 101, it's kind of yours to lose. And this is exactly what you have to do. You have to do exactly so she's got the right combination of, she's got youth, she's got extremely talented players. And then, you add in Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins, the perfect team to add that combination to, in my opinion. Really well done. Well done.
So just to kind of go back here, you went Devontae Smith, and then we've seen Damian Harris go off, Mike Evans, Drake London, who I absolutely love out of USC. We're seeing a lot of rookies go off the board early. We're in the middle of the 5th round right now. Calvin, you got 10 seconds left. We're in the middle of the 5th round, and we've seen about 5 rookies already come off the board. David Montgomery, Keenan Allen. And then start off the 5th round was DeAndre Hopkins, Elijah Moore, Josh Allen, Darren Waller, Brendan Ayuk. You just went Travis Etienne. I'm interested to see where Brad goes here, but we've seen quite the balance here, a heavy shift to the wide receiver position compared to what some of maybe us dinosaur drafters are accustomed to. Running back. Yes, I'm guilty of that myself. Now, my screen is all messed up. I got no buttons here, so I got to set players manually. So I've been scrambling this whole draft right now to try and figure things out. I want to ensure that I'm set at the quarterback position. I want to go with Lamar Jackson, but I can't resist Patrick Mahomes right here. So I'm going to get that quarterback a little bit earlier than maybe I'd want. Usually I like to sit back until rounds 8 and get myself a solid quarterback, but seeing Joe Burrow and Josh Allen kind of come off in the early rounds, I know it's a 1 QB league, but this way I know I'm set at the position moving forward.
No doubt.
After that, Elijah Mitchell, Rotoheed Craig there, great pickup there. What are your thoughts so far when you're looking at this board? We don't have a little pick for a little bit yet, but what are you seeing right now? Any pattern or anything that kind of stands out to you so far?
I like that Eagle Dan, he is my zero RB buddy. We've been on shows together talking about zero RB. I like that he took a running back before I did. That's my number one takeaway so far. But as far as like roster builds, it's really interesting to me to see where just some of these players have gone. Like Calvin Ridley in the 3rd round that's pretty high to me. I'm not sure I'm making that move. What about you?
Yeah, I said he's an interesting case for me. If we knew what was going on with Calvin Ridley here in the offseason, I would probably feel comfortable with him in the 5th round. He is a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. If he is mentally ready, if he wants to play next season. We don't even know if he's going to play next season. So 3rd round for me, huge risk, huge reward. And you know what? Hey, leave it to a Rams fan to take a gamble.
Yeah. And then came back. I mean, I like everything that Jorge has done here. Now, Rams fan, so homer pick of getting Kupp in the 1st round. How often do you think the 29-year-old is going to go in the 1st round, Cooper Kupp?
I got him. So we talk about this quite often. When I'm dealing with dynasty startups, dynasty leagues, I'm playing in like 3-year periods right now. That's kind of where my area is, where I feel comfortable. And right there, Cooper Kupp is still in my, okay, you know what? He's still doing good. We've got 3 years. I think he's going to be good until he's 32, 33 years old. So I feel okay grabbing him there. But, I mean, that is kind of at that borderline where we're no longer looking at him anymore, right?
Yeah. Especially, cool. I don't know. Like I have a hard time ranking him right now in Dynasty above the AJ Browns and the DK Metcalfs of the world. But obviously you start building a roster and you're thinking about, okay, this is where I'm going to go. Somebody that I just feel like I feel like the disrespect has gone way too far on Josh Jacobs.
It is.
I know you're a Raiders 100%. Fan. Huh?
I agree with you here 100%. I don't have Josh Jacobs in my top 12, but for some reason, when the dust all settles, regardless of what's going on, Josh Jacobs finds himself in that RB. I think he was RB8 2 years ago. This year, he was right in that RB12 range. He's going to find himself one way or another through the war of attrition, however you want to look at it. At the running back position, we've seen running backs go down left, right, and center. All you have to be at the running back position to be an RB1 is consistent throughout the season. You don't have to be a stud. And at the end of the day, you're looking at guys like David Montgomery, who were probably drafted as RB20. Josh Jacobs, who's consistently going as RB22 to RB24, cracking that RB12 type range every single year. So when we're looking at this, I feel comfortable in Josh Jacobs, especially here in the 6th round, and especially as your RB2.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the pick that happened right before there. So Elijah Mitchell, who I really like Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell like what does he give you, I guess, that Josh Jacobs doesn't? Because it feels like Josh Jacobs has been in the league forever, right? Elijah Mitchell, like, oh, he's a rookie, he's great. Elijah Mitchell's basically 3 months younger than Josh Jacobs. So it's not like you get a ton of youth if you draft Elijah Mitchell. I feel like Josh Jacobs has about the safest floor of anyone. I know, like, no one's going to be like, oh, great pick when you pick Josh Jacobs. But who do you think is a better bet for getting the bulk of the work in their backfield than Josh Jacobs? Like, there's like maybe 4 or 5 guys that you trust with that, having the workload that we expect, right?
Yeah, there's no, I mean, Kenyon Drake is going to get a little bit next year, but I mean, we've seen Jacobs and Kenyon Drake coexist this past offseason. Dang it. Hunter Renfrow, one of my guys, just came off the board. But going back to Jacobs, yeah, he's going to get the volume. He's going to get those touches in the goal line. We know what he's going to get. He got mixed into the pass game this year, too. So John Gruden's gone. I would expect Josh Jacobs to be a little bit more heavily involved, especially in the passing game for the Raiders moving forward. Now, this one, now kind of a recap here. I'll recap here after my pick, but I'm up here right now, and we are in the 7th round. And, man, there's still some good quarterbacks. This is why you don't do something stupid like I did and pressure yourself to grabbing a quarterback in the 5th round, even though it was Patrick Mahomes. So I will take a little credit there. But you're looking at some of these big-name wide receivers are coming off the board. You're like, oh, man, who do I grab? Who do I grab? Odell Beckham would have been a good pick up until yesterday, until the Super Bowl kind of changed his potential outcome. So I'm going to go. I know Tara grabbed Marquise Hollywood Brown thinking he is the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore, but she's wrong. It's Rashad Bateman. So I'll take Rashad Bateman right here, right now in the 7th round. I mean, I love myself some Robert Woods, but he's getting a little bit older. Chase Claypool, good old Canadian boy. Can't trust Mapletron. Hunter Renfrow really was my guy, my target in this round. Obviously, he went away from me. Lots of wide receivers getting off the board right now. And you look at the last running back taken other than Kareem Hunt, it was Miles Sanders. I think that's kind of where that drop-off is, even with the rookies that are coming in here. There's only about 4 or 5 rookies that I feel really comfortable in, and none that I'm willing to go much higher than the 7th round to acquire.
Here's a rule that I think everyone should follow. If you find yourself disagreeing with Tara, you should take Tara's side because she's really smart. She knows what she's doing. And yeah, Hollywood Brown, look, that was an incredible target share last year. And, you know, if I mean, Rashad Bateman's got his work cut out for him if he wants to try and pass him up. I love what she's done with her roster, like a great mix of youth and veterans, but gone 5 straight wide receivers after going Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers in the first 2 rounds. This is exactly what you do. Like, there's no reason to take a quarterback right now. The tight end spot, like, there's no reason to jump on one at this point. You've got, you know, you got some good tight ends out there, but you know, you definitely, a lot of them are pretty much the same. No reason necessarily to jump on one. She may right here, but yeah, the way she's built this, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, and then 5 wide receivers is really smart.
Yeah, you can see me scrolling through here right now, and it's already like, oh, man, who can I trust here? There's nothing that screams value right now as you're going through what's left of the draft. And we're only in the 8th round because everyone's really hit the wide receiver position. I'm going to take a wild guess here. I'm going to take a gander here on Kadarius Toney, a little bit of a young guy, PPR machine. We've seen when he's healthy, the difference that he can make in PPR formats. But again, I'm really keying on those words, when he's healthy, because him and Sterling Shepard missed a lot of time last year due to soft tissue injuries, whatever you want to call it. And that's going to drive fantasy managers absolutely up the wall moving forward. Now, the one thing I like what you did is you got Kyle Pitts early, and now we're starting to see, even if I wanted to grow tight end, Pitts is off the board. Kelsey's the second tight end that kind of came off. And then we had Mark Andrews, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Darren Waller, and then we know that's where that drop-off occurs.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, and then there's probably in Dynasty, there's probably a little bit of a drop-off then to Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, depending on where Kelsey is. He's going to be your Dynasty 2, maybe your Dynasty 3, depending on where you have Mark Andrews ranked in there. And then obviously it's going to drop off. Then we hit Waller, Hawkinson, and then you're looking at another drop-off to what? Dallas Goedert, maybe Noah Fant. I mean, the drop-off there is considerable. And I mean, that's kind of like where you're like, okay, where can I find myself a Logan Thomas? Where can I find myself a Dalton Schultz to kind of get me through until maybe the next tight end comes up?
Yeah. Well, how about actual Dalton Schultz, who, unless he's a free agent. So unless he leaves to go somewhere else, which I just really hope he doesn't, hope he stays right where he is. And if he does, if he stays in Dallas, there's no reason to think he can't be one of the top 6-7 tight ends. I'll value him that way. And Dawson Knox is another one. Pat Freiermuth. There's some good players, but like you said, they're sort of in a bunch right here, and there's no reason to necessarily pull the trigger at this point when you've got, if you're not getting the early guys. That's why I went for Kyle Pitts, because I feel like the positional scarcity at that point is what I'm hoping helps me out. Plus, 21-year-old tight end, the possibility of him losing value over the course of the next couple of years is not very high.
Well, we talk about value-based drafting. We've talked about this for Travis Kelce for years. When you're drafting Travis Kelce, you are getting a top 3 wide receiver that's playing the tight end position as far as value is concerned in fantasy football. That's why you grab a guy like Kyle Pitts in round 1, in round 2 of these dynasty drafts. You have to do that. You got to get those guys right now because they're going to make a difference.
I didn't realize it was 4 seconds. Oh no. Oh no. Oh gosh. I didn't like that pick at all. I freaked out.
That's a desperation pick right there.
That's not a pick I would make if I was actually on the clock and there was a slow draft, but decent chance to talk about Rondale Moore being having one of the weirdest seasons ever last year, catching the ball on average, like just about behind the line of scrimmage.
It's definitely things that make you go, huh? Kind of make you shake your head, try to figure out what is going on there. Now, I'm going through the running back position here. I'm going through. There is nothing at this point that you even want to consider. So now you got to flip your attention back to the wide receiver. And this is kind of where I would actually consider someone like Odell Beckham Jr. You're in the 9th round. You're like, okay, I guess there's some value here. I don't know what's on my clock here because I can't see what the clock. I guess apparently I timed out.
Oh, you took your guy.
Who did I take?
James Robinson. No, Goddard. You changed it to Goddard.
Woohoo! Say bye. Well, that's a good thing about being the commissioner. When I'm talking, I can still make a selection as quickly as possible. And I'm okay with Dallas Goedert because I think that's pretty much the value. We've seen Gronk go just before him, and then Dallas Goedert kind of came up. I think I prefer Goddard, especially in dynasty formats, to a guy like Gronkowski. And I think he's right up there with Hawkinson in that 3rd tier after the Hawkinson. It's close for me, but he's right there. So let's kind of go through round 8. Kind of went Johan Dotson there, the rookie. Jameson Williams, love the kid out of Alabama. Cortland Sutton, Michael Gallup, Kadarius Toney, obviously my selection there. Cordero Patterson, Leonard Fournette, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner, DJ Chark, Kyler Murray. He's got a little bit of growing up to do if he wants to get into the top 6 rounds here in 1 QB leagues, because I think there's a lot of questions about what he's going to be, where he's going to be, and that's been created in the last couple of weeks. Tony Pollard, and then Tara continues her dominance on the draft board, going Lamar Jackson here in the 9th round. Rashad White there, Arizona State product, Gabriel Davis, Adam Thielen, Gronkowski, some more guy that you drafted for some reason here in the 9th round, Devin Singletary, Dallas Goedert, who I switched in the middle of my pick, James Cook, Matthew Stafford, Pat Freiermuth, Jacoby Myers, another one of my guys, Kieran Williams, love that pick there from Notre Dame in the 10th round for Bob Gilchrist. And now we're back with Jeremy here at 10:02 making the selection. Any bad picks other than the Moore one that kind of just happened that you look at this board? You kind of point out the Calvin Ridley one there in the 3rd round. Kind of not so much for me. Is there something right now that you're like, oh,
yes. There's one I hate even more, and that's taking Saquon Barkley in the 3rd round right there. Partially because I don't like Saquon Barkley. The other part is Bob has Alvin Kamara, 26-year-old running back. Dalvin Cook, 26, 27-year-old running back, whatever they are. Saquon Barkley, who my favorite runs from Saquon Barkley last year were the ones where he was wearing the Booker jersey. I loved those. Those were great. And he's got Ezekiel Elliott, who 26, 27. This is a confusing draft by one of my favorite people, Bob Gilchrist.
It's funny because we don't know the situation with Alvin Kamara right now, right? That's going to be one of those things that who's going to be the quarterback, who's going to be making the final determination on these plays. Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Is it going to be someone else that we don't quite see there in the picture yet? We don't know how that's going to shape out. Dalvin Cook, solid pick. Jeff Mueller, I seen him on a post here on a thread. He's actually supporting Saquon Barkley especially in redraft. He's a couple of years out of those injuries. He's not worried about that ankle, but I mean, we're talking Dynasty here. And this is where I think a lot of people who are watching this right now, a good, smart Dynasty investor here is, I'm always a believer in, when we get to rookie drafts, you draft running backs, you trade for wide receivers. Now, when you're in your Dynasty startup, you load up on these wide receivers, and then you build your running back stable through your draft. If it's there, obviously you're taking the best player available, but if I'm going to build my running backs up, it's going to be through the draft, unless I get a Jonathan Taylor off the get-go. I mean, the first couple rounds, I'm okay. I'm even okay with Alvin Kamara, that 112. But when we get to that third round, I want to hammer away on these wide receivers. That's where I want to get in on the wide receiver game, is from rounds 3 on. Because we've seen this in any kind of league that you're in. With, doesn't matter how many managers are out there, you're going to get running backs more hurt than not, right? We see that this year more so than any other year. That zero RB, that anchor running back, hero running back has been a very good strategy this year. Now, saying all that, you could have gone heavy wide receiver in the first couple rounds and still found yourself in trouble this year with some key wide receivers going down to injury as well, right? But I think the risk at the running back position versus the risk at the wide receiver position is a little bit different. And I think there's more risk involved going running backs heavily, because we've seen a lot of value in late running backs. Sony Michel made a difference this year. Darrell Henderson made a difference. Rashad Penny, who just went here at 11:02, big difference for the teams. Devin Singletary, we've seen him go at 9:07 there to Brad Martz. So we've seen the running back position have value late in drafts based on injuries. Calvin, you're up with 15 seconds. I know you're looking focused, but I'll throw that back.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with my guy Ramondre here. I'm gonna take a stab at another Bob Gilchrist favorite, right? Doesn't he like Ramondre a pretty good bit?
Well, so that's a good Major's back. That's his main man there. Ramondre Stevenson, as he likes to put it there. Every single chance he gets an opportunity. I'm okay. So we talk about running backs here. We've seen my guy Elijah Mitchell go early. I feel like Trey Sermon could still have some sneak appeal here in the 11th round. I'm looking at, he's on my bench for the way this draft is set up. I'm willing to take a risk here this late. I like Stevenson better. I like Henderson better. I like Penny better. But, I mean, Trey Sermon right here seems, I feel comfortable with that selection here. Jalen Hurts, Chase Edmonds, another great pick as well. It's I'm sure my team would be looking a little bit different if I was focused more on the draft than on talking about everyone else's selections here, because it gets a little, especially on that 30-second clock, right? You're trying to get these out here.
It definitely makes it very hard. I like the pick of Jalen Hurts there by Rotohig Craig to go Fields and Hurts. I think that's a good good combination there between those two.
It sets them up nicely, right? If you believe Fields is the guy and all of a sudden he's not, Hurts is going to give you one more season, one more QB1 season before he moves on. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he is a QB1. I think he's a starting quarterback in this league. I really do. I think he did a lot of good things last year to earn another shot. I don't think the Eagles are going to bring in much competition. Maybe a wily old vet. Maybe they bring Gardner Minshew back for another year if Gardner Minshew doesn't have an opportunity to start elsewhere. But, I mean, I think he's going to be there. So I feel safe with those. Both of them are very high upside quarterback selections there in the 10th and the 11th round.
Yeah, and I want to say, too, Megan took Trevor Lawrence right there. I really like – so I was looking at some pace of play things for an episode that I was working on. And the Jaguars last year were 29th in pace of play. So 29th – so what, the fourth – fewest plays run in 2021. They hired Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson has never finished outside of the top 9 in plays run per season. So they're going to it was like 100 play difference between 29th last year and 9th, where Peterson's been. So think about 100 plays over the course of the season and what that can do for your upside. And I think there's a lot of reasons to be pretty excited about some of these Jacksonville Jaguars players for the first time in quite a while.
And speaking of Jacksonville Jaguar players, in the 12th round, now I got my guy, James Robinson. Yes, he's coming off that Achilles, but Cam Akers came back. Cam Akers is a different breed altogether. And I hate to say it because we got excited about him coming back after 5 months. He doesn't look like he's quite there yet. He'll probably be there by training camp, but James Robinson, I'm not expecting him to be ready to go anytime soon. I do think Travis Etienne will end up getting more reps when it's all said and done than James Robinson, but James Robinson is going to find himself somewhere getting some serious carries, whether it's in Jacksonville, in Duval County, or somewhere else in 2022, 2023. Hey, this is Dynasty. This is the 12th round here right now. I feel okay grabbing James Robinson this late. And as we wind down the 12th round here, just a quick little touch up here. The 11th round, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny, Christian Kirk, Darrell Henderson, Trevor Lawrence, Ramondre Stevenson, Dak Prescott, Trey Sermon, Jalen Hurts, Chase Edmonds, Ronald Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Double dipping Bob Gilchrist goes with Russell Wilson as his QB2, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Julio Jones, Kenyon Drake, James Robinson, Tua Tagovailoa, Derek Carr, Sony Michel, Damian Pierce, love that pick, Dan, Dalton Schultz, Laviska Shenault, and another Canadian off the board. One of my guys, one of my Dynasty mustaches, Joshua Palmer. Absolutely love that. That's your big board there. This was a quick draft, 30 seconds. You know what? We are going to get on moving on to the second part of the show here in a second, because we've now tied up for 33 minutes here. We're going to get on to part 3 of the show here in just a few minutes. And in that part, we are going to break this all down. What do we like? What do we don't like? Who done it best? Who probably wants to forget about this draft? Probably me, because I haven't even looked at my team yet. And I kind of move on from there. So with that being said, we're going to tune out to tune back on here in just a little while. So before we do, hey, you know what? Grab yourself a quick drink of water and get ready for part 3, of this Dynasty Vipers ViperCast, episode 114, powered by the Fantasy Points Media Group. Hey, use promo code VIPERS22 and get yourself 10% off today. That subscription, one of the best bang for your buck sites out there for fantasy football. That's fantasypoints.com. And hey, we'll be right back.
Tier 1.